Well, major win this week for conservatives, Christians, and Republicans as the Supreme Court of the United States has officially overturned Roe v. Wade. Now, this is not only a win for Republicans and conservatives, but this is also a major win for our Constitution. You see, right now, their entire ruling gave less power to the federal government, power that they should have never have had, and gave it back to the states. That is what a lot of our Constitution is all about. I believe our federal government has too much power. But with this ruling, obviously came a lot of anger and hate and violent rhetoric and violent actions from the far left and the left and many of our Democratic leaders. So much so that I believe we have to be ready for the things that Democrats and liberals and far radicals have planned for the very, very near future. And if we want to survive those things that are coming, we need to know exactly what's going on. But before I get into the report, I want to tell you about my new sponsor, Go Nuts with Lisa. If you guys are looking for an amazingly yummy snack, this thing, by the way, puts trail mix to shame. But anyway, this is really healthy. It's plant-based. It's non-GMO, gluten-free, and no processed sugars, no refined oils. And as you can see, there's multiple flavors here, but citrus, spicy, we have barbecue, we have maple here, and chocolate. Right now, you can get this for up to 20% off. Check it out at gonutswithlisa.com and try that out. All right. So with that, let's start first with what our Democrat leaders are saying about the Supreme Court of the United States Roe v. Wade ruling.
You see this turnout here? You ain't seen nothing yet. Women are going to control their bodies no matter how they try and stop us. The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them. Women will be in control of their bodies.
If you read Clarence Thomas' concurrence, he said, thank you, Clarence Thomas. He thinks that we are going to stand idly by when they take our rights.
Illegitimate! This decision! Illegitimate! This decision! Illegitimate! Into the streets! 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 Into the streets!
This court has lost legitimacy. They have burned whatever legitimacy they may still have had after their gun decision, after their voting decision, after their union decision. They just took the last of it and set a torch to it with the Roe versus Wade opinion.
And so my message to the women and to anyone seeking their reproductive freedom across this country is come to California. You will have that freedom here. But secondly, be prepared to live in defiance of these 6 people who think that they have the right to tell you what you can do with their body.
Are you telling people to break the law?
No. I am telling people that they can access, under California law, their rights that were protected by the Constitution. That is going to be held in defiance in some states. And I would say, yes, prepare to defy.
Now, that's some pretty violent rhetoric coming from our Democrat leaders. I mean, they are literally inciting their entire base to get out on the streets, to not sit idly by. We're not going to take it, to use foul language against our Supreme Court justices. And of course, right, they're also saying to defy the court. Calls from Maxine Waters and calls from the lieutenant governor there, even though she says, oh, no, I'm not calling for people to break the law. And then she contradicts herself and says, yes, defy the law. That's an incitement in trying to get their base to act and respond. All because they do not like the result of what happened with the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. Look, we've had a liberal court for a number of years, and now we finally have a more conservative one. We handled theirs for a while. It seems only fitting, right? But instead, there's an entirely different response. In fact, they're going above and beyond to blame Christians.
In a country that's supposedly founded on the separation of church and state, we Americans find ourselves being held hostage by a far-right Christian court.
America held hostage? Wait, by a far-right Christian court? Basically, Joy Reid is saying country's being held hostage by Christians because, a conservative court makes rulings for the Constitution. I mean, that seems a bit extreme, but is it? Here's a couple TikTok people that went out on TikTok and did, similar stuff. Unfortunately, it's very sick. Just a warning here. Mark Judson, I stand with Ukraine, and he says, I totally get why the Romans killed Christians now. It so makes sense. Here's some more, right? And this is a rip, thrip, throw away. And here's what they said. The radical Christians are found in the rural areas. Their towns are defenseless. They have almost no cops and their firemen are volunteers. They have to borrow cops and firemen from neighboring jurisdictions miles away in order to handle anything big. And they think they're safe out there. Forget burning cities. Cities are on our side. It's time for rural areas to feel the heat. Woo. You show up 100% deep in every rural town in a 50-mile radius, intent on revolution. You'll crash their system and make them pay for what? Really? For our views? And if you all think I'm kidding, I'm dead serious. This was caused by backward rural conservatives operating out of a Christianized worldview. Even if they're not Christian, they've heavily influenced by it. They were the ones who voted for Trump in 2016. Those disillusioned redneck, white trash, blue collar types who flipped massively for the GOP. Punish them, punish their towns. They say BLM, burn the cities to the ground. I say let them see firsthand what that's like. And when a community is truly burned to the ground, they want a civil war. They should have been careful with what they asked for. And then he goes to talk about how he's not an organizer. Wait now. I mean, these are average people on TikTok, on Reddit, on Twitter. And by the way, I don't even know so much that Twitter's even deleting these, right? But the Christian base is really being targeted and attacked. Why are they going after Christians so much, right? I mean, Christians are against murder of all kinds. You can't murder someone in cold blood, but how come they're not attacking Christians for that view? Or what about gossip and slander and all of that? But I digress. They're really framing Christians into this mindset that they're evil and bad people. And here's some more here, right? Black sheep in the Midwest. This is, I believe she, doctor at Sarah Bush News. And here's what she says. I prescribe meds. I can choose not to prescribe them. So from now on, if you're a white male who voted conservative, in other words, you're a white Christian, your little piece there needs to ask God for the power to rise. No more Viagra for you. In other words, she's saying, I'm not going to prescribe certain medicine if you're part of that Christian white base. And here's the stupidity of it. I'm so sick of them throwing white on everything. Really ticks me off, right? But anyway, people of all color can be Christians. People of all color can be Muslim or Buddha or Mormon or whatever. Fill in the blank. But they keep throwing Christian in there. But what happens and what has been happening as a result of the Democratic Party not condemning the violence, not standing out against these burnings of some of our pro-life centers, not speaking out, well, it's emboldened and things are getting worse. Here we go. Here's just some of the attacks on Christian centers, by the way. dailymail.co.uk. Christian pregnancy clinic in Colorado is torched and graffitied with the words, if abortions aren't safe, neither are you. After pro-abortion extremists warned of night of rage following Roe v. Wade decision. And I believe there's about 30 or more of these that have already been destroyed or graffitied or criminalized in some way, shape, or form. Here's another one. Vandals target Virginia pro-life center with menacing graffiti. You are not safe. We have 10 arrests at Oregon pro-life pregnancy center during violent night of rage protests. And it really breaks my heart that they're going after these pro-life centers, right? It really is truly, truly disturbing. People have a right to view whatever way they're going to view, pro-life or pro-abortion. That's your choice to view that. We can't force you to think one way or another. But we used to be able to get along on a peaceful level at this country. But ever since Joe Biden and quite frankly, Barack Obama, things have really been heated between the parties. So much so that we have many people literally saying really mean things about Christians, about conservatives, and even our Supreme Court. Take a look at just some of the latest rhetoric, and really this should this needs some looking into. Keith Oberlin, Samuel Alito, Amy Comey Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, John Roberts, and Clarence Thomas are domestic terrorists. Wow. And should be approached, like go to their house kind of thing. Is that what you're calling for? And prosecuted as such. Now, I'm not going to read all his tweets. He had a lot there. You can go through them. Here's some others. This is a gun activist, by the way, who put this out. Go to the homes of every Supreme Court justice who just voted to kill women. Nobody voted for that. They gave the power back to the states. Let them know how you feel. He since deleted it, by the way, not Twitter. He did. Here's some more here. And this is on the Blaze. Socialist Reddit group post home addresses, which they've done before, of Supreme Court justices, discusses hunting them down at their churches, finding their family members and stuff. TikTok users hint at using pipe bombs in retaliation to Roe v. Wade reversal. Back in the day, before the FBI and DOJ and, all the departments were controlled by the Democrats, right? We used to be able to send them out or send them out to investigate stuff like this. These are some threats that need to be looked into, right? Not only that, but this is the most disturbing threat. These are just people on Twitter talking about violence being used against conservative base and the Supreme Court justices. Here's one here. Burn down the Supreme Court. And there's a ton of these. And by the way, this was posted by Urian, and I can't say the last name there. But here's another one. I'm going to F and kill everyone in the Supreme Court with my whoa. There's tons. Someone assassinate Clarence Thomas. An American flag was set on fire at 7th and D. Burn it down. DC abortion protesters chant. Why does our flag have anything to do with that whatsoever? But yet here they are attacking our country. It just shows the hate that these people have for one of the last and latest free countries on the planet. We don't want to look like the other countries for a reason. We want to stay America for a reason, right? But then we go on, and here's more here, and you can read some of these. I don't want to read through all of them because there's quite a lot. You could see this one, throwing your thing there at our public buildings. Here we have another one. Fascists literally do not care how hard you vote. They're not trying to win elections. Violence is the only language they understand, and it's time we start speaking it. Wow. And then here he is again, Gray Wonk, here, same guy here, and he says this: violence is legitimate and appropriate response to oppression. And this is after Obama, Freudian slip. Biden comes out and says not to use violence, be peaceful if you're going to protest. And here we have a Twitter user saying, nope, it's legitimate. Why are they even allowed on Twitter is a good question. Here's some more here. And these really go on. Riot civility is pointless. Here's, of course, some of the defaming of our pro-life centers. Burn the Supreme Court to the ground. And we have another one here. I hope the 6 Supreme Court justices burn. This is sick. I don't care if you're on the left or the right or the middle or whoever you are in the Supreme Court of the United States. Never ever has that rhetoric ever on any ruling, even rulings we didn't like coming from the Supreme Court back in the day when it was liberal. Never did you see this kind of rhetoric, not until now. And now this is the kind of rhetoric we see coming from a lot of our leaders, our governors and congressional leaders. But I could go on. This really goes on. You can see the scroll there over and over and over and over again. It's just insanity, right? On top of all of that, what else happened over this weekend? Well, something in Arizona. Take a look here. Well, I'm going to call it an insurrection because that's exactly what they called J6. So this would be an insurrection in my opinion. Not even my opinion. That's what it is. FoxNews.com. Arizona abortion protest. Police released tear gas. Lawmakers were held hostage inside the Senate building because they were literally plastering themselves on the door, not allowing them to get out. The cops had to intervene in order to just get senators in that building. This is insane. And then it went on for not one night, but 2. Arizona insurrection continues. About 20 arrested after radical leftist abortion mob attempts to breach the AZ Capitol a second night in a row. And this is on the Gateway Pundit. Not only that, but we also have the Night of Rage, right? Night of Rage. Protests erupted to violence across the country. Fox News headquarters was targeted. Fireworks shot at police. Pro-life woman attacked and journalist assaulted. Now, I can go on and on. I can talk about the liberal breakdowns. That could probably take a good 30 minutes of clips. But The bottom line here is it doesn't seem to be very peaceful coming from those on the left or the Democrats at this point. So I think that we really need to pay attention to what's going on and what's being said by some of these people. And our leaders need to start acting on this. If our leaders are calling for violence in any way, shape, or form, then they should have to answer for that, be it through the law. If the law says, you're in trouble for saying that, you're inciting violence, then why are you exempt just because you're a Democrat? And it's a really good question. Anyhow, wanted to bring this all to you. And then one last thing I want to say is there is an attack on Christianity now, unlike we have ever seen before here in the United States. We already know that attacking Christians is really prominent outside of the U.S., but now it has really crept into the U.S. In fact, here's what Barr had to say about, some of our schools. Here's William Barr, and here's what it is. This is on the Federalist. Barr says, public schools are now so hostile to Christians, they are unconstitutional. And I have to agree with him on that. They're becoming more and more hostile, blaming. Now, a lot of morality obviously comes from God, from the Bible. I'm a Christian, we have a lot of morals. But if something is moral and they don't like the moral stance on that, then they go after and attack Christians. And we're seeing a lot of this in our once free country. So the Bible said a lot of this was going to happen in the later days, and I really see an explosion of that. But if you really want to know what's going on across the country, Bible prophecy-wise, and what's going on that they're not really telling you about, because there's a lot of stuff they don't want to tell you about, get to restrictedrepublic.com. It's here that I post all the videos that I post here on YouTube, but without any commercials, by the way. Exclusive content. You can see me in my glasses there, by the way, but get to restrictedrepublic.com, and right now you can get it for $5 a month for the entire first year. Use that coupon code TRUMP when you check out. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.